Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, Mr. Money Talk. Did you? So we were just talking off, Mike. This was the first time you had even heard of Jake Paul. You knew who Mike Tyson was. You've covered his bouts
Yes, I
before,
did. I covered Mike Tyson.
but it was
Yes,
breaking news that Jake Paul was
the
paid
opponent.
double what Mike Tyson was in terms of headline for that fight on Friday because of his YouTube following. But did you
What
watch the fight?
is no hell no? Is he ever since Muhammad fought the Japanese guy and he crawled around on his belly in the ring for 30, 40 years ago, I've given up on those kind of stupid exhibitions that we have in once in a while in boxing. I didn't watch McGregor fight the guy either, which they said was a boringly incredible fight too. But who is this guy? I don't know who he is. Not is he a fighter? Is he a legitimate fighter? What is he?
I mean,
So,
I'm going to
Jake
take a
Paul.
stab, and Dex, you fill in cracks here.
okay.
So, Jake and Logan Paul have been wildly popular YouTubers going back to their teens.
For
Logan
what?
Paul dabbled in some fighting, and they just do goofy videos,
Goofy
and
stuff.
stunts, and
One of them was on Disney Channel for a while. Like the one that fought Tyson was an actor on the Disney Channel kids show like 10
Okay.
years ago. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Imagine if like Justin Bieber decided to devote his entire life to professional boxing and
Okay.
became like pretty good at it, where he could draw an audience of millions. So Logan Paul is now a part-time WWE wrestler, and
Okay.
in short time, he's become one of the best as a part-timer. Jake Paul has devoted himself to boxing over the last 5 years, and he started off like his second fight was against Nate Robinson, the former point guard for the Knicks.
Oh, really?
But then by the time he got into like his fourth, fifth, sixth fights, he started fighting recently retired mixed martial artists. Like he beat Anderson Silva in a boxing match and
Okay.
Tyron Woodley twice and Nate Diaz. And so he has kind of strategically picked these higher profile but over the hill
Yes.
former fighters. And Mike Tyson was the latest one at age
Now,
58.
who
So
does the crowd cheer for when they box each other? Tyson and this guy.
I think
Who does the
Tyson was
crowd
a
cheer?
pretty overwhelming sentimental favorite, I
Okay.
felt like, yeah.
What kind of shape was Mike in? I
Anybody
didn't
else want to
watch
take
any of it.
that one?
I didn't watch
He's
any of it.
58 years old.
Yes, right.
He's a shape.
He's chiseled enough, but
He's
yeah, it was third
58
round.
years old, and smarts was never his strong point.
No.
No.
Okay, but apparently now what did you had to pay-per-view this? I presume, huh?
No, on
So,
Netflix.
Worse.
Netflix. Oh, okay, all right. And and Paul beat him. I take it, or is that?
Yeah, it was an 8-round fight. That was the capped number of rounds,
Mhm.
and it was a unanimous decision. But I once again last night we talked about this on Mackey and Judd yesterday. But I went down another like TikTok, Instagram wormhole. There's a lot of people that are doing video breakdowns speculating that Mike Tyson held back in order to guarantee a paycheck. That the latest one is that he didn't throw one uppercut in the entire fight, which is
Really?
his known knockout punch. That there was a bunch of different times where they would pause the video and show Tyson's got Jake Paul all set up for an uppercut, and he doesn't even attempt an uppercut.
Wow.
So people think it might have been not quite on the up and up.
Well, anything for money right now. I don't think Mike tended to his millions extremely well in his day. It was, I think the greatest moment ever was when he had the Holyfield fight and he bit the ear. And Ronnie Borges from the Boston Globe was a columnist, and Ted. Ted, the boxing guy, the trainer who had
Oh, Teddy Atlas?
Teddy Atlas told him before the fight, Mike knows he's going to get his ass kicked because he's not in any shape to fight here. And he had long been, separated, but so he's going to do something really outrageous to keep his how tough guy image, and even though that instead of just having to take a beating, he'll do something really outrageous. He didn't say he's going to bite his ear off, but he said he's going to do something really outrageous because, Mike was he was fierce unless you made him fight, right? So, I mean, Spinks and the Spinks fight, I was all in on that way back then, but not anymore. Boxing is, the Saudis are taking over. Everybody's making a big deal about the Saudis in golf, but and the Saudis in soccer, but they're taking over boxing too. The Saudi. That's why we haven't had a card here in many. The Armory was having 4 cards a year. They haven't had one this year. I think Morrell's going to fight here December 15th, but they haven't officially announced it. So, they're taking over everything in sports that they can apparently. So. Baseball should try to get him to take over one of their teams.
Yeah, can they buy the Twins?
Why don't the Twins? Could we sell them to
Soto?
the Saudis?
No problem.
Yeah, I think that.
If it meant getting Juan Soto on like an 8-year contract for $500 million, I'm in. Totally.
Yeah, I was going to write something for Sunday about the Saudis, influence in sports. I still have a hard time with us embracing a regime that dismembered a news reporter because they didn't like what he was writing about them and got away with it. But I have a little trouble with that one. But yeah, maybe that's the column for Sunday. Have we called up the Saudis and asked them if they
Poll
want
has to reach out to the Saudis.
Yes, right. Yes, right. That's that'd be good. But okay, I guess I missed that. I just can't. There's just stuff that's too silly for me to participate in. I'm sorry, so I just ignored it completely. But and I didn't. It hurt that I didn't have any idea who Jake Paul was either. So.
Now you can start watching his YouTube channel, though, Pat. He's got I think he's got like 20 million, maybe 30 million subscribers on YouTube. So he's doing pretty well.
Oh, well, that explains why Don Trump got elected, I guess. Anyway, how about our, what else we got going on?
The Vikings have played a game since the last time we convened. 8-2. No one wants to talk about them.
Yes,
they're 8-2, though.
They're 8-2, and they did get the referee's assistance this time, which is that's hard for us to accept, but I just has this been good for them, these, as far as long-term development of a really good team, these clunker opponents that they've had here? We'll find out Sunday, I guess.
They beat some good teams before, though.
So I know they did.
They did start against some decent teams, other than the Giants.
Yes, they did, and it was great to go. That 5-0 start when other teams are trying to figure it out was fantastic. There's no doubt about that. But the Bears, if they go down and actually beat the Bears up, the thing about it, the last 2 weeks, they beat the hell out of these teams. How did they? Both games should have been like 40-7 instead of what the scores were. The 2 weeks ago, they had 412 they had 412 yards or something.
They only got 12 points though on field goals.
So I know they were fighting to win with 412 yards. What the hell? The other team had like 20. It was I don't know. It's been really weird. They 2 weeks ago they were way better than the score indicated, and this time they might not have been as good as the score indicated. They had a really hard time with a rotten team, I thought. So I don't know where they are, but they're 8-2. If they split them, if they beat the Bears like they should, and then split them after that, they won 12 games. So it's pretty phenomenal, to say the least.
The Bears thing is hilarious now. I've these press conference clips that keep coming out.
Are you going to get fired? First question: are you going to get fired this week?
It's great. Yeah, he's in Eberflus, kind of head in the clouds, aloof personality. And one of the reporters came out and said, and I don't, is it true that Cairo Santos is like perfect under 40 yards, the kicker in his career?
Yesterday on ESPN.
Yes.
And they were like, they had a timeout left in 30 seconds, and it's like a 45-yard field goal. And if they get 5 more yards, he's inside the zone that he's never missed, right? And they decide they're too worried. And one of the first questions on Monday from a Chicago reporter was, Were you aware of the fact that Cairo Santos has never missed a field goal inside 40 yards? And did that factor into your decision to not run another play? And Eberflus had this look on his face like, wasn't aware of that, but we felt comfortable with where the ball
Yeah, well,
was.
they should have felt comfortable. They got it blocked, buddy. Not that he missed it. He got it blocked.
Well, he's a low trajectory kicker is what the scouting report is.
Oh, okay.
Got to get him a little closer.
This was the coach's fault too, right? Because they got it blocked. How about the guy who let him run by him and block it? That might have been the guy.
Well, they did cheat. They did. The Bears have filed a report with the league because you're not supposed to go at the center, the long snapper. And the Bears had like two guys shove over the long snapper right after the ball got fired out. And, so the officials might be number one on the pie chart of blame for that one.
Yeah, but so you can't hit the snapper in any way?
No,
you can't. You're not supposed to.
Okay.
Unless it happens like organically.
I know you can't jump over bodies,
no.
but I didn't know the snapper wasn't fair game. So
yes,
I guess
yes.
What a way for the Bears to lose though. Just you're fine. Okay, you're gonna win the game. The guy's gonna make the field goal and plonk. That was an old time Viking win from the Bud era when those other teams in the division had moved down the field and get into position, and the Vikings had, I think they blocked 14 of them 1 year or something like that. 14 kicks.
Well, because you could jump on guys' backs back then. Blair would catapult off a guy. And
or Blair blocked a bunch of them, but
those were also low trajectory kickers back in that day too.
Well, yeah.
Those guys were like a mile up in the air.
Yeah, they were kicking. With their toe, not their instep, most of them. So back in the day, no, actually with Bud, we were already sideways, right? Yeah, when most of Bud's era, we started kicking it sidestep. So on the instep, but yeah, I don't know. They're good, and they're Van Ginkel and these guys that they discovered that. They went out and signed instead of signing Hunter. Now, the Hunter had a good game last night. I watched a little bit. Was it last night? He was running around making plays or something. And they ended up losing that game, though, Houston. Did they lose that game?
No, they won.
No, God, no.
They killed Dallas. Dallas is a complete mess.
And Dak's bailed for the season, huh? Dak is bailed for the season.
Yeah. And Zim is, I'm sure, sorry he came back.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, they can't keep him. Yeah, here to go back to the Bears though, wasn't the word that our number one choice was going to be the Ryan Pace guy who ended up being the GM there, and the Bears out, and he went to the Bears instead because they had better draft choices coming up. Is he going to get run out with Eberflus or not?
I don't think so.
Well,
no,
he hasn't.
Yep.
He hasn't done much either, So.
My favorite, by the way, on Dallas, real quick here. I sent this graphic to you guys via text. So it is it's November of 2024 here. We're almost done with the calendar year, and someone put a graphic out that says, "Has your team won a home game in 2024?" And it lists every NFL team except the Cowboys, and also every NHL, MLB, and NBA team. In the four major sports, the Dallas Cowboys are the only team to not have won a home game in 2024.
Well, you do play a number of fewer games in the, you would really be trouble if you had an MLB team that didn't win a game in 2024, would you? I mean,
do we double check the White Sox? Are we sure?
It, but it is amazing how people tell me that you go watch some of these ESPN sports show, NFL shows, and they're still talking about, the Cowboys like it's important. They haven't been in the conference championship game in 30 years.
First take today was talking about Dion. If Dion would become coach of the Cowboys.
I heard that. Yeah.
Okay.
Big discussion about it. Big discussion about Dion.
2 and done if he takes it. Although I will say his Colorado team turned out to be pretty good this year. It's because he's got the quarterback. So, I thought they were going to be a complete failure. But they, I don't know. Would Jones do that? Would Jones want somebody that's that loose of a cannon? Who's
I
calling
mean,
is it still Jerry calling the shots, or is the kid
Oh, yeah.
calling the shots?
Jerry and his kid, but Jerry's still, I mean, he's still doing what?
The
Post-game
post-game?
press conferences, a weekly radio show.
Mm-hmm.
He can't give it up.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. I see them that you watch the now. I don't know if are they still getting 100,000 people or do they stop coming? But the crowd shots are unbelievable. These people all painted up and wearing their crap and sitting there like their relatives all just died in a car accident or something.
yeah, well, they
It's
still have the
what's
Yankees
wrong
and the
with you
Lakers to cheer
idiots?
for, so they're
What's wrong with you idiots? Stop going to the games. Why waste your time? My God.
yeah.
It's
How about that? So
incredible.
we had the two dud sporting events in that building. The fight on Friday was also
That's
in
right.
that
Oh,
stadium.
really?
And the building's
In the
falling
big
apart.
in the big stadium? In the big
Yeah.
part?
Yeah,
They tried to close the roof, I guess, before the game, and all this crap fell, including like a couple of big pieces of the roof.
Oh, I didn't know.
Just
Somebody said to me, Jerry couldn't close his roof, but I
that
didn't
was
know what
it.
the hell they were talking. I didn't know it was closable. I thought it
It's
was
retractable, yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
stuff falls down, I guess, when you try it.
I've never been in that one. Have you guys? Have you been in that
No.
one, Judd? I haven't
I was
been
in
in
the
that
old
one. It was the old
piece
one.
of dump garbage,
Yeah,
whatever it
the old
was,
one.
but not that
But
one.
hell, we were there. We were there for their last big playoff win, right? When they beat Denny's team in '95, and we all thought Denny was going to get fired, and he
Mhm.
didn't. And he didn't. And Denny came back and had more success than they've had since. They got to get the cocaine and the White House and the hookers and all that stuff back, man. They've ruined their image. So
it's
those
true.
guys might have been bad behaved, but they won, didn't
Coaching
they?
staff of Dion and Irvin.
Oh
How
yeah.
about that? How about that? Dion and
That you
Michael
know
can
how
come
quick
back.
he'll flame out in about 2 weeks. He's is do the Dallas NFL media have to refer to him as Coach Prime, or can they call
That's
him?
gonna be yeah.
Can they
He
Oh
can
call him
definitely he
man.
can
Dion?
control the bolder media out
Yes.
there, but
Wouldn't
yeah,
it be
it's
fun to
gonna be
see though?
tough.
Hmm. Hey, Gulfs and Penn State. Anybody sniffing an upset?
Yes,
I
No.
think
I'm
there's a possibility of a
I'm
close game.
I
I'm not
might be
sniffing
calling an
anything.
upset tomorrow. I want to write that down.
I'm staying away from sniffing altogether when it comes to that game.
Penn State isn't that great. They're good. They're solid. They've actually put up more yards than I thought, but they're not that great. They've
They're a
had
fake top six team. They're a
Yes,
fake
they
top
are.
six team.
I know, and our boys have had 2 weeks to get ready. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close. And
You guys laugh at me and Pat.
didn't
That's
we?
fine. Yeah,
Didn't
we'll be
one of
laughing
the
next week.
times? Didn't we? Weren't they in here and we ran on the field a couple 3
Oh
years
God, it was
not
one of
so
the great
long?
2019, one of the great wins.
It's
2000. Yeah.
the
Phil and
best
I were
gopher
there.
win
I
of my
think
lifetime.
I think Dex
Yeah.
was there. It was fantastic. We were
I
all.
wasn't, but yeah.
Oh well, I mean, you should have been.
Somebody sent out a pretty good video this weekend about when you're when you rush the field for a win over Missouri, your program should be shut down. Apparently, somebody beat Missouri in the SEC, and now they routinely rush the field. But that one for Penn State was a sincere one, right? That was not
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
phony. We just beat a bad Iowa team.
No, they
Type
were
of.
undefeated. They were like
Speaking
9-0.
of college ball, did you guys see who's back as a head coach as of yesterday?
That's right,
Yeah,
Charlotte.
Coach Brew.
Coach
Coach
Brew is
Brew.
back in charge of a program.
Wow.
Hey, Charlotte,
But,
are you hungry or
but
are you starving?
They said it's going to be a national search, so I don't know if Coach Brew is.
Got a chance to make an impression.
We got too many of these old. We got too many of these nothing colleges down south that are trying to play FBS football, and Charlotte is one of them. That league is, that. But Charlotte, just go back where you came from, for God's sake. Whatever conference you used to be playing in.
They're in the way. They're in the A. They're in the
Tell 'em that.
AAC.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
back.
I'd love to see him get the job, though. Would you come in? I hope they win
Oh.
2 big upsets and they give Coach Brew because it's been a contest between the killer and Brew to who would have the most jobs since they left here. I think Jerry's had 8, and I think Brew's 8 too. I think
Yeah, I was gonna
Brew's
say
had 8.
Brew was on Dion's staff for a year or two at
2 years.
Colorado.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that didn't work
And
out. Yeah.
Jackson State. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was with him at Jackson State, but he's also he didn't he get taken to North? Didn't Mac bring him to North Carolina when he
Yeah,
first got there
yeah,
for a
yeah. You're
while,
right.
and then thinking he had the old recruit, he think he'd go get him Vince Young again or something, and
Yeah.
oh
A
man,
couple notes.
I
One,
never
Charlotte came from Conference USA, and before that, FCS Independent. So we can send him
okay,
back there.
Okay.
Secondly, looking at Tim Brewster's resume, in case we haven't been keeping up the last few years,
okay.
he has been a tight ends coach every year of his coaching career since 1989, except for 4 years where he was the head coach of a Big Ten football
Okay.
program.
I thought, however, that he was doing TV his first year after one of his first years after he got fired here. He might have been on. I didn't think he was coaching that year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did take a year off before Mississippi
Yes,
State. Yeah.
because he was when we started our afternoon sports show. He was my first guest.
That's
He was
right.
our first guest, and basically told me what a jackass I was. We got off to a flying start, so it was. I will say, of all the people I've dealt with, I gave him the shortest leash. I called up when they hired him because I didn't know who the hell he was. I called up Lemming, the recruiting guy from Chicago, and he gave him a glowing, so Brew must have been a good talker. So my first column the day before he got introduced was, hey, maybe he's a hell of a recruiter, according to Lemming, blah, blah, blah. And then he went over to that conference at the Alumni Center and was a complete babbling idiot. And I ripped the hell out of him right then and never gave him a chance, So,
Poor
and
Brew.
God, what a beauty! And boy, I'll
All
tell
your
you,
fault.
remember the second year he's 7-1, right?
Yeah.
7-1. Everybody's give him an extension. You go to Gopher Hole, give him an extension. We got to lock him up before somebody comes in and steals him. And then they lost their last 5. And he changed. Remember, he loses the last 4. Iowa beat him 55-0, the worst Big Ten loss the Gophers have ever had in the finale. And then he fired his offensive guy and was going to change the offense after they recruited all these 180-pound fast guys. He was going to become a power game. He was a little irrational guy. So go get him, Coach Brew. Win a
He was a
couple and
beaut.
get the
Yep.
job.
Let's
Yeah,
go. All right.
by the way, only Gopher coach in our long and illustrious history to get fired during the season in football.
Wow.
The only one ever. So
Impressive.
anyway,
It's impressive. All right, Pat.
all
We'll
right,
catch
Jen.
up later
Thanks
this
for
week.
informing me on what this Jake Paul Mike Tyson thing was all about.
Absolutely.
Because I
You
was
got
very
it. We're here
confused.
for you.
I was confused, but not enough to look it up. So okay, see you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right. Reusse Unchained presented by Josh Arnold.